Good morning, Blues, and welcome back to Typical City. We went top of the league after beating Everton 2-0, even though it was only for a couple of hours after Liverpool beat Burnley and went back top themselves. But it was a statement result, not quite the statement performance in truth. In fact, it was probably one of City's worst performances of the season. But you're not really going to hear that's what champions do. That's the title-winning material that wins you trophies, but it really is. Those cliches, they are very much ringing true with regards to yesterday's result for Manchester City, and it's all thanks to that man who is very much back in the starting 11 fold for Manchester City, Erling Haaland, popping up when it matters, scoring vital goals like he did throughout the course of last season and the start of this season, of course. He's doing it once again, and that spells bad news for our title rivals, because even with performances like this, a little bit lacklustre, sloppy, in particular before the goal, up to the 70th minute mark, in truth, we were well below our usual standards. But we come away with the 3 points, and that's really all that matters at the end of the day, especially at this stage of the season. Let's have a quick look at the match stats. 73% to Manchester City for 27% to Everton. 19 shots with only 3 on target for City. Another indication of the sloppy finishing, nowhere near our clinical best, unless Erling Haaland can be extracted from that sentence, of course, because he was. Everyone else can have a look at their the boot man. Whoever's been giving them their boots, they put them on the wrong feet yesterday, because Rodri, Alvarez, so many players having shots from outside the box that were just high, wide, and very, very ugly. And I mean, it's credit to Everton to keep us out of the box like that, and they were preventing us from getting any sort of close range shots. We were resorting to outside of the box shots, but still, though, we need to try and work something out there with regards to getting a bit closer to the goal at least. 5 shots for Everton to 1 on target, so we weren't really threatened too much. That's reflected in the XG. We outperformed with regards to XG 1.63. For City to 0.32 for Everton. 3 big chances for City, none for Everton. 772 passes to their 294. A fairly clean game, in truth. Physical, but it was clean. 6 fouls to their 11, no yellow cards for ourselves or red, and 2 yellow cards for Everton. Now, player ratings, Ederson. I thought the numbers speak really good. I mean, he didn't have very, very little to do. He kept a clean sheet. 1 big save. It wasn't a big save, to be honest. It was straight at him. But that distribution's fantastic, and that's exactly why he's the perfect goalkeeper for Manchester City. Playing out from the back is his forte, and he was absolutely peaking his form yesterday with regards to his distribution. 100% passing accuracy. 7 out of 7 long balls were accurate. Of course they were, because of the 100% accuracy, but it's the fact that he tried 7 long balls. For a guy who didn't get that much of the ball, he was still pinging it about with accuracy. Brilliant. 1 save, no punches, no high claims. 1 run out that was successful. 7.5 for Ederson. It was good to see. That distribution's still crisp with Ederson, as well as he had that big moment at the beginning of the game where he's brave from a mistake that he comes out. That's a big run out that was successful. Gets himself injured, was down for a couple of minutes, but he stands back up and puts in a distribution performance quite like that. After getting 1 in the ribcage, he looked winded from that. Gets back up and puts in a good performance. 7.5 for Ederson. Really good. Kyle Walker, impactful substitution appearance, not quite as much as Kevin De Bruyne or even Bernardo Silva in truth, but still, I thought he offered some decent width. His introduction allowed Phil Foden to go a little bit more central, and that changed the game for me. Pep was really making a big use of his squad yesterday. A little bit too much, in truth. I thought he went a little bit overboard with the amount of changes that he made. It was a real aggressive team swap. And not just the individual for individual, the tactics were different, the setup was different. And once we reverted back to a system that a lot of us were like and ahhing about, at the idea of Kyle Walker providing width for us in an attacking sense, at the start of the season, myself included, very much, I was doubting that system. But he comes on and we go back to that system and we played a lot better with it. So, I mean, I hope he doesn't continue to chop and change too much. Understand that the Champions League was a big factor into Pep's thinking, but those changes that Pep made, I think we got away with it a little bit, and eventually we brought on the cavalry during the second half and it worked. Kyle Walker was very much included in that. 33 minutes, 41 touches, 86% passing accuracy. He got 2 key passes, so he was being creative. Only 1 ground duel to speak of. 1 big chance created as well from Kyle Walker. So 7 out of 10. I thought it was a decent performance. Ruben Diaz, solid as a rock at the back. I thought he was in for a tough afternoon with Calvert-Lewin, who was poor. I thought Calvert-Lewin was poor, and I think Ruben Dias played a big factor into why he was poor. He was restricted to a couple of chances outside the box that were gifted to him, in truth, but anything that came Ruben Dias's way, he ended up in a physical wrestling match a few times with Calvert-Lewin. One where he ended up being thrown out of the pitch for a bloody suplex outside of the pitch, and then Calvert-Lewin ends up winning the free kick. Not sure how that one worked out, but still, Ruben Dias was in a battle yesterday, and he won most of those battles. As you can see by the numbers, did really, really well. 107 touches, so he was involved in a lot of the build-up play. 98% passing accuracy. Fantastic. 1 tackle, a clearance, 4 ground duels, he won 3 of them. 5 aerial duels, he won 3 of them. 3 shots on target, of which all 3 were blocked, and one of them was a very big factor into keeping that ball alive from an Alvarez corner, nodding it down, causing chaos on the edge of the 6-yard box. It was actually Nathan Ake that gets the assist. He was heavily involved and in that move, and that scramble bobbles its way out to Erling Haaland, who just batters it into the back of the net, and it was Ruben Dias's big booming header that started that move. So well done, Ruben Dias. 7.5 for me. Not for me, for Ruben Dias. Not for me. I give myself a 6 yesterday. 6 for my watch along yesterday. But thank you for joining me, by the way, in that watch along. That was good. Come and join me for the Copenhagen one, of course. Manuel Akanji, on the other hand, 6 for him as well, I'm afraid, because I thought he didn't play too well at all. That first, he tidied his game up in the second half. I felt like he tidied his game up. And once again, Pep Guardiola is asking this man to do a foreign job. It's an unfamiliar territory for Manuel Akanji, playing in midfield. I'm sure as a kid he did, but right now at this elite level football that he's playing at, it must be new to him again to be playing in midfield, and he trusts him. I just found it odd how at one point in the game Pep had John Stones and Manuel Akanji pushing into midfield to make a treble pivot with Rodri, Akanji and John Stones. He scrapped that after about 20 minutes, Pep. But to then leave Akanji as the one who pushes forward and John Stones to drop, I feel like I'm going mad here, but surely John Stones should be the one pushing into midfield. He's a much better carrier of the ball, John Stones. He retains the ball so much better. He's got a better vision than Manuel Akanji. Surely he should be the one pushing into midfield and Akanji drops. But Pep insisted throughout the game until the 57th minute when he took him off to push him into midfield, which was an interesting decision, and I don't think it paid off, in truth. 71 touches, 90% passing accuracy, which isn't bad, but he was giving the ball away a lot in that first half. One which led to a Calvert-Lewin opportunity where he tried this chip from outside the box, and it was a woeful effort from Calvert-Lewin, but we got away with that. A gifted opportunity to Calvert-Lewin, and he didn't take his chances in that situation, but Akanji needed to sharpen up. Like I said, he tidied up in the second half. There was no real mistakes to speak of, but he was brought off in the 57th minute as well. 1 interception, 2 ground duels, he only won 1 of them. 2 clearances and no block shots. 6 out of 10 for Akanji. Ake, same again, with similar to Ruben Dias. I felt like he got involved in a lot of set piece goalmouth scrambles. You can see that from the shots at the bottom there. 2 shots, none on target, but they were headers that were blocked. He got himself an assist, which is a bit technical, to be honest, because it wasn't exactly a purposeful assist, but an assist nonetheless that goes down for Nathan Ake. 3 aerial duels, he won all 3. No clearances, 2 big tackles, 92%, 132 touches. So him and Ruben Dias had were heavily involved in the build-up play. And they did a great job. They did a great job of doing that. Very little defending to actually do, but I thought Nathan Ake was solid, equal to Ruben Dias, really, alongside dealing with any threat that Calvert-Lewin offered. It was a good performance from Nathan Ake, 7.5. John Stones, just not quite to the standards of Ruben Dias and Nathan Ake in this particular game. He played the full 90, which is good to see. Back from injury, he can play the full 90. Great news. 102 touches, 98% passing accuracy. So another defender that's brilliant in the build-up play. That's fantastic. From Ruben Dias, a 98% passing accuracy. John Stones, 98% passing accuracy. And Nathan Ake, I think he was about 96 if I remember rightly. But high percentage and ball retention from the back is key for this team. I know there's simple passes, the majority of these, but there's not a shortage of them. They pass the ball a lot and they keep it accurate. So it's good from our defence yesterday in terms of distribution. 2 aerial duels, 1 was won, 2 clearances, a key pass, 2 interceptions. So decent numbers for John Stones. Just didn't quite have as impactful performance on the game and on the result quite to the level of Nathan Ake and Ruben Dias, who were involved at the other end of the pitch, winning those headers aggressively from corners that we were attacking on. But still, 7 out of 10 performance is the least John Stones' performance deserved. Rodri, Shooting boots were a bit wayward. I thought there was a couple of opportunities in that second half that he had opportunities to shoot and he ballooned them over the bar. Pretty ugly, some of them as well. But he kept going, kept the ball ticking in midfield. I thought he was all right. Not his greatest day at the office, but still not a bad one at all. 109 touches, 90% passing accuracy. The defensive numbers are fantastic. Not fantastic because those ground jewels aren't great, but still 2 interceptions and 2 tackles, really good. He got 2 key passes as well. With regards to the ground jewels, I felt like there was a couple of players that were struggling to deal with the physicality that Everton offered. And rarely do you say that about Rodri, but he was one of them. I felt like he was struggling in that midfield. James Garner, of all people, not the biggest guy in the world, is he, James Garner? But he was bossing Rodri at times and beating him on the ball. Calvert-Lewin, his physicality was there and putting himself about on that pitch. But 12 times he lost the ball. Not a terrible performance from Rodri, but, okay. By his usual standards, it was below it, but I'd give him a 7 at least. Matheus Nunes was it was a difficult performance for him. I don't think he shined yesterday, that first half. He was pushed over to the right wing for a small spell in the second half. Didn't really affect the game. He was sloppy in the first half in particular. The numbers aren't great reading. You want to see him do the performances that he put in against Huddersfield in the FIFA Club World Cup, and even against Burnley. Was it Burnley? I can't remember. There was a game recently where he played really well, I thought, Nunes. This game was against a tough physical opposition, and he sort of shrunk. There was a moment where he went through on goal with to Pickford, and he bottled it, and that infuriates me. When a player doesn't want to be brave, I can't stand it. It drives me insane. Winds me up like nothing else on that pitch. When you have the opportunity to win the ball, he could have poked that around Pickford and made it get clattered. He didn't want to get hurt. And that pissed me off, that did. That really isn't acceptable at this level. You've got to be braver than that, because if he knocks that past Pickford, Pickford takes him out. If he keeps running, knocks it past him, clattered, penalty kick in the first half that he wins, but instead he didn't fancy it. Didn't want to get hurt. We can't be having that. We can't be having players who don't want to get hurt. That was a perfect opportunity, and he put the brakes on, pulled away, and went, nah, don't fancy that. Not good enough. Can't have that. But his performance outside of that one particular moment wasn't great either, unfortunately. 42 touches, 80% passing accuracy. That's far and away the lowest in the team for this game. 1 key pass, 3 crosses, none which were accurate. 4 dribble attempts, he completed 1 of them. 5 ground duels, and he won 2 of them. And he lost the ball 13 times, which is more than Rodri did. And Rodri played the full 90 minutes, don't forget that. So a 6 out of 10 for Nunes. Phil Foden, I thought he did all right. He was not that effective in the numbers game for goals and assists, but I thought he did all right. He was in it. He was forced out wide. He must have been furious to know that I'm playing on the wing after playing so well against Brentford in the middle of the park, and throughout the whole season he's been brilliant playing centrally. He was pushed out wide, and it was for Matheus Nunes, And I felt like as soon as Foden went back in the middle and Nunes came off, we looked a better team, and that's complemented by the fact that Kevin De Bruyne came onto the pitch as well. You can't forget that. I don't want it to be a hate fest on Matheus Nunes, because I think there's an absolute player in there. Matheus Nunes is a good player. I just felt it looked quite obvious yesterday that he wasn't up for it, which is worrying. But Phil Foden was. I thought he was lively, not quite as effective as he could be, but he was still there, offering himself. Ball retention was decent, 77 touches, 90% passing accuracy, no key passes, 4 shots, so he's a busybody getting involved, only 1 of which was on target. 6 ground duels, he won 5 of them, which is decent considering the physicality that Everton proposed yesterday. 1 dribble attempt, he completed it, and he lost the ball 9 times in 90 minutes. Not bad at all from Phil Foden, 7.5. Kevin De Bruyne, 33 touches, 33 minutes. He comes on and he just changes the game, doesn't he? Just his presence alone, I think, put a little... He planted the seed. The fear was there to see for Everton players when he came onto that pitch, and he bossed it. He gets himself an assist, but it's not just about the assist. It was the bravery of the passes. The ball just moved quicker when he was on the pitch. He gets it. He doesn't fuck around with it, does he? He just gets that ball, pings it to a City shirt, and that sets the tone. The momentum of the game changed when he came onto the pitch, and it's Kyle Walker and Bernardo Silva as well. Their impact was very evident to see, and visible evidence to see. But it really was Kevin De Bruyne's substitute appearance that stood out to me. Obviously got himself an assist, 1 key pass, 1 shot, could have been a goal. I mean, it nearly made it 3-0 at the last kick of the game, dinking it over Jordan Pickford. Should have really squared that to Haaland, in truth, because Haaland was on a hat-trick and it should have been squared. He saw a big empty goal, tries the effort, not a million miles away in truth, but probably should have squared that one. He still created a big chance outside of the assist as well. 5 ground duels, he only won 1 of them. Not his game in truth, but still would like to see those numbers be reduced a little bit and win more of his duels. But still, impactful as you can possibly want it to be from Kevin De Bruyne, coming on, getting the assist. And he flipped the game on its head. 7.5 for 33 minutes is just. Bernardo Silva, 13 minutes, 20 touches, 94% passing accuracy, 3 ground duels, he won all of them, 2 tackles, 1 dribble, and he completed it. He's only on the pitch for 13 minutes, but I tell you what, if he'd played the full 90, it felt like a different game. If those numbers were carried over for the full 90 minutes rather than just 13, then I feel like that would have been a much more comfortable game, because this guy came on with a point to prove, and he only had 13 minutes to do it, but he did it. I can only give him a 6.5, because it was such a short amount of time. There isn't too much to speak about there, but those numbers are fantastic, and Bernardo Silva is just an absolute superstar, man. The guy's, I can't speak highly enough of him, and hopefully we can keep him during the summer transfer window. But to come on in 13 minutes, I felt he, alongside Kevin De Bruyne, was a really impactful substitute appearance, but it was for just such a short amount of time, I can only give him a 6.5. Hopefully we can see more of this for the rest of the season from Bernardo Silva, because what a fucking player this guy is. Jack Grealish, on the other hand, a very anti-impactful. It was impactful in the wrong way. It was impactful for bloody Everton, Jack Grealish, because he got his warning. He comes onto the pitch 14 minutes alongside Bernardo Silva, just a minute earlier, bit of a technicality there, but he comes on just before Bernardo Silva. At the halfway line, he gets clattered. He loses the ball from a slide tackle, and Rodri picks it up. Warning, Jack. There's your warning sign, mate. Don't do that again. He does it again like 5 minutes later, but this time on the edge of the box. The ball breaks to Everton. They slot it through to Beto, who's thankfully about 3 or 4 yards offside before he puts it in the bottom corner. Could easily have been 1-1 in that situation, of which Jack Grealish had a major factor in gifting Everton an opportunity, and that's post being warned. He'd already been warned on the halfway line that you need to be a bit quicker with the ball, mate. Get up to the tempo of this game quicker, because you've already been caught on it once. And then again, the 3 ground duels, 2 of the ones he's lost, you can see they're very effectual, and the 2 possession lost are really, really dangerous. Really dangerous. So need to see more from Jack Grealish if he's going to come off the bench like that. He can't come on and be impactful in such a negative sense for Manchester City. But 100% passing accuracy, typical Jack Grealish, passing-wise, keeps the ball nice and simple. But still, it was alarming, those. I don't want to be too harsh on him, because just like Bernardo Silva, he wasn't on the pitch for that long. So I can only give him a 6. Came on with a 6 and he leaves with a 6. Could have been a 5.5 in truth, but don't want to be too harsh on him. Jeremy Doku, again, it's an interesting player we've got here, isn't it? Really, interesting. I mean, the numbers that he puts on the board are frightening, and there's a terminology that describes Jeremy Doku quite accurately, because he's very eye-catching, isn't he? But bordering on unreliable. The end product there needs to improve, but the eye-catching ability of this guy, man, just the way he beats players, just gets you on the edge of the seat. The Etihad noise went up a notch. A few decibels go up when he gets the ball. He creates excitement like no other player that we have on the pitch, but the excitement sort of goes, when he gets to the byline. Only once did he cross that ball accurately to an Erling Haaland header, which you could say Haaland could have done a little bit better with it, because it does hit him right on the forehead. But, I mean, the ball to him was a good one from Jeremy Doku, but 5 crosses attempts other than that were just wayward. Because there you can see crosses 6, only 1 of which was successful. But the other numbers is just tenacious. Do you know what I mean? The guy is an absolute tank. What a unit of a player. Ashley Young and Ben Godfrey were giving it large to Jeremy Doku yesterday, and they were bouncing off him like a brick wall. And I mean, for such a short guy, he's such a unit, isn't he? 84% passing accuracy, which is good. 8 dribble attempts, he completed 5 of them, 2 key passes. I've already mentioned the crosses, need to improve on that. That's his game. If he can sort those crosses out, even get 50% of your crosses accurate, just turn that into 6 and 3, then you're looking at getting an assist per game, mate. Because he can get into these positions that are lethal. He's already done the hard work. Beating the defender is the hardest thing you can do in football. Dribbling ability like he's got is a rare occurrence. You don't get ability like Jeremy Doku. Doesn't grow on trees. It's an absolute shooting star level of rarity to see a player like this. But you want the end product, because it's a waste of time if you get into the byline and not delivering when you get to that position to cross the ball. It means nothing if Erling Haaland's got to turn round and watch that ball go out for a throw-in on the other side of the pitch. But if he's getting on the end of these crosses that Doku is able to get into positions to deliver a cross, then we're looking at a guy who's going to be getting double figures assists and potentially double figure goals every season. 21 years old, don't forget that. There's so much learning still to happen for Jeremy Doku. And there's your unreliability. 23 times he lost the ball, but still a very good performance. The only player in that first 70 minutes that looked a genuine threat throughout the whole game. 7.5 for Doku, I think is fair. Julian Alvarez, I think he's dipped a little bit since Haaland's returned. That's really worrying and unfortunate. I mean, the guy's been brilliant for us this season, but since Haaland's come back, he's had to go back into the shadow of him. It feels like that, and it's really unfortunate because he's a quality player, and the numbers aren't too bad either. But there was a couple of times where he was wasteful with it. There was opportunities on the edge of the box where his touch wasn't quite there. The ground jewels, he gets stuck in, doesn't he? But he doesn't win many of them. He is a little bit lightweight. You compare him to Doku, for example. They bounce off Doku, but Alvarez tends to bounce off the defender that he's up against. If he could just strengthen up a little bit, be a little bit more solid with the ball, because they're coming in hard on Alvarez, and if he can just retain that a little bit better, then I think he'd go up a level. And I think he's just struggling right now. The last couple of games he's struggled to affect the game quite to the standards that he has done at the start of the season. 77 minutes, 49 touches, 85% passing accuracy. 3 key passes, by the way. That is not an easy task. That's good. 2 shots, none on target. 3 dribble attempts, 1 on target. And 4 ground duels out of 10 were won. 6.5 for Alvarez. I want to see more from him. I do want to see more from him, but he keeps going, doesn't he? And if he keeps going, we will see more from him. That's the good news. Keep playing like that with the attitude that he's got, and we will see more from him, because we know the quality's there. We know the finishing ability's there, and we'll see it a little bit more, hopefully, when teams open up a little bit as well. We have to factor that in, how well Everton defended, just killing the spaces for players like Haaland and Alvarez. Speaking of killing spaces, you give this man one sniff in front of goal and Erling Haaland will absolutely punish you. Man of the match performance, hands down. And the thing that I want to talk about first isn't the fact that we always saw it, don't we, last season? The numbers were always like poor. Passing accuracy was always poor with Erling Haaland. His ball retention's not great. Ever, but at the end of the day, he comes away with a goal, 2 goals, maybe a hat-trick, but the rest of his game was always a bit like, oh, he could do better with his passing. But look at these numbers. This is great number 9 numbers. He only had touched the ball 26 times, 26 touches, 100% passing accuracy. Wasn't that many passes to speak of, but still kept it accurate, 100%. Can't ask more from him. 2 key passes. He won 1 aerial duel out of the 2 that he attempted, 2 shots on target, and vital 2 shots on target as well, because both into the back of the net they go. Dribble attempts as well, 3 dribble attempts, he won 2 of them. That's fantastic numbers outside of the 2 pivotal goals that he scored. And the second goal, I love them both. They're very different types of goals. The instinct of the first one, right place, right time, and just the accuracy to just absolutely batter it into the back of the net with a sledgehammer of an effort with his right boot. Bang, back of the net. Second goal, he's got more time to think about it. He uses all of his athleticism, uses his power. Jared Branthwaite is left in his dust. He positions himself to open up his body and whip it in with his left foot. Just peak Erling Haaland football that was for that second goal. What a goal that was. Helped by, of course, by the assist from Kevin De Bruyne, which was just on a plate. You look at that pass again. Don't underestimate how difficult it is to pull off that pass, because it's all right getting it in front of him, but he didn't have to break stride for a millisecond. Not a moment did Erling Haaland have to adjust his footwork or any of his pattern of his run to get in behind that ball. It was just perfection right in front of him from Kevin De Bruyne, and Erling Haaland made use of that pass. You know, he made every single second of that ball's momentum count in his favour. and put Jared Branthwaite on his arse and put it in the back of the net. It was a fantastic performance from Erling Haaland, which won us the game. Great news for Manchester City. Of course, Liverpool, we are very much in a title race. They are doing the business. I thought Burnley were a little bit unlucky not to come away with a half-time lead, in truth. They did get an equaliser on half-time, but, I mean, they played well. Burnley, they played well. Liverpool weren't that convincing, but neither were we. Both teams won at the end of the day, so we're in a title race. Two teams not playing that well and both winning. So it's going to be interesting to see where this season takes us. We could have another epic season on our hand, going blow for blow with Liverpool. Could Arsenal stay involved? I think they have every chance of doing it, but they might fall off towards the last 5 or 6 games of the season. But get your predictions in for the rest of the season, as well as your opinion on these player ratings as well. I am interested in hearing them. I want to hear your thoughts on the players that came onto the pitch, the players that didn't quite do well. I've given Akanji a bit of a low score. Alvarez, Nunes, these types of players. What are your opinion on them? I really want to hear your thoughts. Get in the comments below. Like and subscribe to Typical City if you're new, and I will see you in the next one.
This is Typical City now, holding up Silva.